Some chains bind tightly. Kira felt theirs every day. Living on the outskirts of Embergrove, a kingdom ruled by a king who reveled in her misery. Each breath was weighty, every heartbeat a grim reminder of her fate. Laws treated her like less than human. Just another pawn in King Alaric's ruthless game. Each day she grew more invisible. This wasn't just her life. It was a prison. She, a timid Omega of 23. Every moment trapped behind walls, both physical and emotional. Hunger gnawed at her, an ache that twisted her stomach. Kira was property, nothing but a currency in Alaric's relentless pursuit of power. The people of the castle moved in a haze, whispers of worth tied to coins or favors, not the warmth of humanity. The castle loomed like a dark shadow, imposing against the backdrop of the twilight sky. Inside, it echoed the cries of despair, while outside, freedom groaned beneath chains. The last whispers of hope flickered through her heart like dying embers, barely grasped, yet impossible to fully extinguish. But Kira had something others lacked, a rare gift, an inexplicable bond with beasts. Animals sought her out, irresistibly drawn to her soothing aura. They calmed, nestled against her legs. Creatures of the wild found solace in her presence, healing with gentle strokes and whispered words, a connection that defied the harsh expectations of the world around her. Once she had hidden this gift, afraid of scrutiny, terrified of what would happen if the king learned of her abilities. But as despair threatened to consume her entirely, she began to embrace it. If she could heal the wild hearts of beasts, maybe, just maybe, she could soothe her own fractured spirit. With each gentle caress, her confidence flourished. Yet King Alaric was a cold ruler. His iron fists crushed any glimmer of rebellion. He sought power relentlessly, and those with abilities like Kira's sent chills down his spine. Shadows cloaked her as she moved near the castle, a ghost roaming the king's lands, invisible yet aware of the rage boiling beneath her skin. Life twisted, unforgiving, when a new decree echoed through the kingdom. Alaric's cruel hand reached deeper, targeting all Omegas, a decree to force them into servitude for his desires. Kira's breath quickened. That was the moment everything shifted. She could be the spark, the catalyst for change, but she needed allies. A fire ignited in her heart, a flicker of rebellion that had been stifled for too long. But the odds were against her. The guards patrolled the grounds, eyes sharp and merciless. Would they silence her before she could find her courage? Kira felt panic tighten around her throat. A confrontation with a guard ignited a rush in her veins, sending her running, fear clenching at her resolve. Yet escape brought the unknown. In her frantic flight, she drew the attention of a beast, a magnificent towering wolf of the wild, a creature carved from nightmares, brimming with power and fierceness. But there was something more. He sensed her determination, the fire kindling within her. Fate entwined their paths. In that moment, Kira felt strength coursing through her veins. A bond began to form, an unexpected connection grounded in shared resolve. The beast stood as a guardian, a symbol of wild freedom, no longer just a shadow drifting in despair. Could this unexpected ally guide her closer to the rebellion? Could he help her amplify the whispers for change? Behind her, the castle stood silent, the weight of King Alaric's rule heavy in the air. The path stretched out, uncertain. Would she ignite the flame of revolution, or would fear snuff it out once again? With renewed purpose, Kira took a step into the darkness. Her heart raced with every beat. What awaited her in the depths of the forest? Would freedom finally be within reaching distance? Kira stepped into the forest, shadows wrapping around her like a comforting cloak. The night was alive. A chorus of rustling leaves and distant howls echoed through the trees. Cool air kissed her skin, refreshing her resolve as moonlight illuminated the path ahead. A quiet sanctuary, yet a place fraught with uncertainty. Each heartbeat resonated with the magic of the wild, urging her onward. Mira had been in Kira's position once. The stories of past Omegas filled Kira's mind with fire and despair. Orphaned young, lost to the flames of an endless war. She had whispered of bravery, of seeking out others bound by the same chains, the bitter reality haunting her every thought. Kira's heart twisted with the memory. Mira was a name of legends, the brave Omega who had sparked whispers of resistance before being swallowed by darkness. Kira had learned about the cruelty of Alaric's reign through hushed conversations, words that hung heavy in the air around her. Every tale weighed on her heart, deepening the scars of brutality she had witnessed. Some Omegas claimed to be content with their meager existence, but Kira knew better. She had always felt it. Those who accepted their fate were trapped in a cage without bars. Tales of a hidden rebellion like the one Mira had tried to ignite echoed throughout the kingdom, whispers of freedom simmering just beneath the surface, waiting for a spark. But persistence came with sacrifice. The rebellion, if it existed, was hidden in shadows, elusive for those like Kira. She could be that spark. Her affinity with beasts, her unique connection. This was her strength. Were there others who could feel the same bond, who would join her cause? Yet the dangers loomed around her. Every breath she took hinted at the chance of being caught. The guards were relentless. The knights loyal to Alaric trained to anticipate disturbances. A wolf would blend in, yet Kira felt everything but invisible. Then there was the wolf. As if sensing her thoughts, the magnificent creature emerged from the shadows. His fur glistened in the moonlight, a fierce presence weaving through the night. He was a guardian, a token of hope amidst despair. His piercing gaze locked onto hers. She felt it, the deep connection pulling them together. In that instant, she knew. There was something in his eyes, a promise of strength, an understanding that made her heart leap. Were they destined to fight together? I will not be silenced, she vowed to herself. She focused on the task ahead, breath steadying as she walked deeper into the forest. Step by step, determination bloomed in her chest. Night turned to dawn, the sky changing shades as Kira navigated the tangled roots and brush, heart beating with anticipation. She would find those who dreamed of a better tomorrow. With each creature drawn to her, she could send messages, plead for her allies. The wolf padded beside her, a sentinel guiding her movement, an echo of her spirit. Her thoughts intertwined. They reached a clearing, sunlight filtering through the branches, illuminating her resolve. Kira inhaled deeply, the sweet scent of earth and grass grounding her. She knelt down, the wolf sitting close by, alert. Would there be answers in this sacred space? Hello? She called softly, voice barely more than a whisper for the wild to hear. Would the forest respond? Birds rustled in the treetops, their calls resonating like a forgotten language. As she knelt in prayer, she opened herself to the whispers of the world around her. Are there others? Who shares this vision? Moments passed, but there was movement in the brush. Creatures appeared, fox, deer, even rabbits, all drawn by her presence, their eyes glinting with understanding. They gathered around her, a manifestation of hope. Kira's heart surged. This was the community she had craved. For the first time, she didn't feel alone. The wolf stood tall beside her, a reassuring presence. What do you want from us? A rustle came from the shadows, a voice like gravel and dust. A fox stepped forward, ears perked, its eyes sharp. Kira blinked, a thrill of fear twisting in her stomach. I seek those who dream of freedom. We cannot remain shackled under Alaric's rule. I need allies. Will you help? The forest held its breath as Kira's words hung in the air, laden with hope, yet the weight of fear evident. The fox tilted its head, considering. Freedom is dangerous, it replied, voice steady. Your heart is brave, but it may lead you into the jaws of a beast. I accept that. But I will not cow to the darkness that surrounds us. There must be others who feel the same. Around her, the creatures showed their silent solidarity. The wolf let out a deep growl, as if voicing agreement. Kira breathed a little easier, weapons of determination glinting in her chest. Could this pack begin a movement? Was change finally within their grasp? Kira's plea hung in the air, vibrant and electric, as the creatures around her stood in silent support. The forest pulsed with a life of its own, filled with possibilities. Hope ignited within her once more, flickering against the oppressive darkness that had overshadowed her life for far too long. Your path holds danger, the fox warned, its sharp gaze steady. Alaric's knights will not take kindly to rebellion. You must tread carefully. I understand, Kira replied, determination fueling her resolve. But the pain we've endured cannot remain unchallenged. I will fight for us. The wolf padded closer, brushing against her, a reminder that she was not alone. Together they formed a bond, a unified front against the tyranny that bound their lives. Kira felt the strength of her companions surge through her. Here, amidst these wild creatures, she was not just a mere Omega, she was a leader. We will rise together, she thought, feeling the connection spark between them. As the sun climbed higher, illuminating the clearing, creatures began to stir. Each one felt the weight of their history, their scars etched deep in their beings. Kira could sense the collective yearning for freedom. It was intoxicating. But how could she turn this gathering into action? Suddenly, a movement in the corner of her vision caught her attention. A deer with soft, concerned eyes stepped forward, its voice like a gentle breeze. What do you propose we do, Kira? Gather the others? Hold a meeting? We must be strategic. Yes, she replied, her heart racing. We need to find others. The more who believe in our cause, the stronger we will become. If I can use my bond with beasts to communicate, perhaps together we can reach those who wish to join our fight. The wolf growled low, a sound that vibrated in her bones, a powerful reminder of their alliance. I'll help you. We'll reach out to the pack in the northern woods. They've been restless. If they see your resolve, they might be persuaded to join. Then that's what we'll do, Kira affirmed, her voice stronger than ever. Days turned into nights, and under the guise of darkness, Kira and her new companions ventured deeper into the forest. The wolf led the way, powerful and unwavering, while Kira called out softly to the creatures they encountered. As they traveled, her bond with the beasts grew more profound. She sent simple messages, weaving urgency into the very fabric of their being. The scent of dawn mixed with the whispers of hope as they approached the northern woods, where shadows danced in anticipation. But with every step, fear seeped into Kira's heart. What if the wolves wouldn't listen? What if they failed? The weight of responsibility sat heavily on her shoulders. She could not falter, not now. A moment, the deer said, halting her forward motion. Remember this, Kira. You are not alone. We are a part of something greater. Trust the bond you've built. We believe in you. Her heart fluttered at the deer's words, igniting a pulse of confidence in her veins. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for the encounter ahead. As they stepped into the heart of the northern woods, the smell of pine thickened in the air, and the sounds of nature enveloped them. A pack of wolves emerged, their eyes keen and questioning. The leader, an older wolf with a coat of silver, approached, body tense but intrigued. You've brought a strange crowd, Kira, he rumbled, voice deep and commanding. What is this? A parade of misfits seeking a fool's errand? Kira squared her shoulders, holding his gaze. No, not fools. My allies. We seek freedom from Alaric's tyranny. You must have felt it. The unrest, the fear creeping into your territory. The silver wolf huffed slightly, contemplating her words. You think you can lead a rebellion. Omegas have no standing. Perhaps we don't. But that is precisely why we need to unite, to shout louder together, Kira interjected, passion igniting her voice. The pack stirred, some shifting nervously, while others leaned in, interested. You speak of uniting all, even those of us who roam free, one of the younger wolves queried, eyes wide with curiosity. Yes. Together we can create a force that cannot be ignored, Kira replied, heart racing as she spoke. Alaric fears anyone with power, and I believe we can change the course of our fate, if we help each other. For a heartbeat, silence enveloped them. Then the silver wolf nodded, a slight acknowledgement. You have fire. I can respect that. Gather your pack. We share your dream. We will lend our strength. Kira's heart soared. This was a turning point. Then we must act quickly. Let's plan and gather more allies. There is no time to waste. As they conferred, plans swirling in the air around them, Kira felt the stirrings of hope turn into fire, fueling her resolve. Fate had led her here, and together they could weave the threads of liberation. Yet, beneath the excitement, a shadow lingered. Kira couldn't shake the feeling of impending danger. Alaric wouldn't remain blind forever. The closer she and her allies got to freedom, the harsher the consequences would become. But Kira was ready. She embraced that fear, gathering strength. This journey was just beginning. All the pieces were coming together. Will the first strike disrupt the stillness of oppression? Would betrayal hide in the shadows, waiting to strike? With the wolf and her newfound allies assembled, Kira felt the spark of revolution rise. Would it be enough to change their fate? Would they become the tide that could wash away the old ways? Kira had no answers, but she wouldn't back down. Change was a relentless force, and they would forge ahead, together. The air was thick with tension as Kira stood in the clearing surrounded by the new pack of wolves and her loyal companions. Heartbeats pounded like war drums, a symphony of resolve echoing between them. They surrounded a map, an old piece of tattered cloth, lie across a makeshift table formed from fallen branches. Her fingers brushed against the rough surface as she traced the outlines of their shared dream. We begin with careful coordination, Kira spoke, voice steady, every word projecting authority. We gather as many allies as we can before we strike at Alaric. His guards are ruthless, and we must move in the shadows. The silver wolf nodded, eyes glinting with wisdom. A fractured movement is weak. We need to solidify our forces, bring in the packs from surrounding territories. The more strength we rally, the harder it will be for Alaric to combat us. Kira took a deep breath, inhaling the scents of her wild allies, the earthy musk of fir and the sweetness of blossoming flowers mingling with the dampness of the forest floor. She felt a surge of adrenaline through her veins. Every moment brought them closer to their goal. Tonight we send signals, she continued, studying her new friends. Each of you has a duty. Use your strengths. Call upon those in need. The gathering buzzed with anticipation, murmurs passing like electricity between them. Kira looked around, her eyes landing on the younger wolf who had questioned her courage. You, she pointed, igniting curiosity. You're fast, aren't you? Yes, but, he stammered, uncertainty in his voice. Good. You can relay messages quickly. Find the packs in the eastern woods. Tell them of our cause. They will understand. What do I say? He gulped, still unsure. Tell them we gather for freedom, for revolution. The conviction in her voice rang clear and pure. As clarity filled the space, excitement painted their expressions. One by one, roles were assigned. The deer team would gather resources, the rabbits would scout the area for any guards watching movements, while the wolves organized the messaging system that would reach out across the kingdom. Kira's vision of unity was crystallizing. After hours of planning, they dispersed, the night air alive with purpose. Kira felt her spirit lift, pulling her deep into the cool embrace of darkness. Every creature moving with intention, motivated by a shared hope of liberation. But as dawn broke, A chill shot through her. Alaric would respond. He always did. She could feel the weight of his gaze, the oppression lurking just beyond the tree line. She needed to prepare for whatever came next. Alone, she walked a few paces away from the gathered group, seeking clarity in a moment of solitude. Gathering breath, she returned to the clearing to meet her companions. Their faces were painted with determination. "Today marks a monumental shift, Kira," the Silver Wolf said. "Are you ready to lead them?" "I am," Kira replied fiercely, heart racing. "I won't let fear lead my path. We've suffered too long." As they stood before one another, a bond began to solidify. A united force forged from pain and hope. Each creature before her held a piece of the puzzle. They were warriors disguised as victims, waiting for the right moment to roar. But with freedom came danger. Kira couldn't ignore the sinister feeling clawing at her gut. Something was lurking, a dark specter trailing them. "Stay vigilant," she reminded herself, glancing toward the tree line where shadows danced behind the foliage. Every day passed in whispers, meetings, scouting missions. Kira spoke to more packs through her messengers, each new association amplifying their strength, each connection weaving tighter threads around the burgeoning resistance. But it came at a cost. Rumors of Alaric's unrest bore heavy on her heart. Uncertainty loomed like storm clouds on the horizon. Would they have the chance to unite before his forces crushed them? Was the uprising too desperate, too soon? One night, the group gathered under the star-speckled sky, tension crackling like electricity. Lying around the glowing campfire, Kira felt the weight of their hope pressing heavily on her chest. The flames flickered, reflecting in their eyes, a mix of fire and fear. "We need a clear sign to rally everyone," she shared, glancing at the Silver Wolf. "A unifying moment, a declaration of our strength." "That could be dangerous," the wolf warned, voice deep, carrying the wisdom of centuries. "To draw Alaric's attention might invite retaliation." "We need to take risks," Kira insisted, rising in her passion, pacing before the gathered creatures. "We can't hide forever. He will find us. And when he does—" Her words trailed off, but the implication hung in the air, palpable and dangerous. A deep silence enveloped them. Each creature was lost in thought. Risking everything for change felt monumental, even overwhelming. Then the younger wolf spoke up, hesitance falling away. "If we can distract him, we could unite the packs on the night of the full moon. Draw all eyes away. When he's vulnerable, we strike. Unleash our power." "That's brilliant!" Kira exclaimed, sensing a shift in energy. "Everyone will be focused on the festivities. We can gather alliances right under his nose, and when he's distracted, we unleash our power." Hope ignited like flame, the wayward juxtapositions of fear and excitement merging into a compelling force. Discussions erupted into spirited responses. Plans started to bubble. Conclusions gathered momentum. Yet in the back of Kira's mind, fear lingered, uncertainty flickering in the shadows. Would this bold move rupture their chances for success? The night of the full moon approached swiftly. Their hearts raced, bodies thrumming with energy. But a sinister chill seeped in, disquieting the air. Just as Kira sensed exhilaration in her blood, so did something darker lurk nearby. A heaviness settled on her chest as she glanced around, eyes scanning for signs. Alaric was cunning. Even now, he could be gathering a force to unravel what they had built. Suddenly, a shrill sound pierced their gathering, the crack of a distant branch echoing through the dark. Kira's heart tumbled with dread. The time for hiding was over. What awaited them in the shadows? Would freedom become a realm of devolved chaos? Would betrayal hide in plain sight, waiting for the moment to strike? With every heartbeat, she felt the gravity of their fight, the weight of every risk, every daring whispered promise. But Kira stood firm, hands curling into fists, determination bathing her in resolve. The next step would unfold. Change was nigh, and she would not waver. "Prepare yourselves," she called, voice steady, strong. "A new dawn is fast approaching, and together we will rise." Was this true faith in the face of chaos? Would they embrace the fire within, or would they become whispers in the dark? Amid uncertainty, Kira vowed, they would carve their place into legend. The night of the full moon blazed above the forest, bright and silvery, washing everything in a ghostly glow. Kira stood at the edge of the clearing, her heart hammering in her chest. Tonight was pivotal, a night that could change everything. The pack was gathered, eyes reflecting the moonlight. The atmosphere buzzed with energy, a fierce mix of nerves and excitement. Kira could feel the weight of their expectations pressing down on her shoulders. Their hopes, their dreams, their lives hinged on this moment. "Tonight we unite," she declared, voice steady, carrying authority in the night air. "For too long we have lived in shadows, in fear. Tonight we fight back." A growl of agreement rumbled through the crowd. The younger wolves howled in response, echoing the spirit of rebellion that sparked within each one of them. "Tonight we reveal ourselves," Kira continued, gripping the makeshift table for support. "We face Alaric and his guards head-on. We will no longer hide. The tide of change starts here." As the words rolled off her tongue, she felt the collective resolve strengthen. This was it. They would challenge the darkness that had consumed their lives for too long. But as anticipation surged, a flicker of shadow danced at the edges of her mind, a nagging sense of foreboding. Was this too reckless? Would they be ready for the fallout? Kira suppressed a shiver, forcing it down. She was a leader now. She had to be strong. "First we send a signal," the Silver Wolf said, stepping forward, eyes glinting with wisdom. "We will make ourselves known, quickly. Gather everyone." Kira took a breath, her heart racing as she began to set the plan in motion. She split their forces, sending groups in different directions to act as distractions for their enemies. The night was alive with the sounds of the wild. As they prepared to engage, every creature seemed to resonate with a newfound purpose. And then came the strongest sentiment, the scent of danger. It crashed into her like a winter wind, sharp and biting, causing her to freeze. A cold dread crawled across her skin. "Stay alert!" Kira shouted, a blend of fear and caution threading through her voice. She scanned the tree line, eyes narrowing, feeling the weight of every heartbeat. A shadow loomed just beyond, and with it came the unmistakable surge of a familiar presence. Alaric's Knights. Shivers raced along her spine as realization dawned. They had been discovered. She could feel the heat rising as panic surged among her companions. "We need to move!" the Silver Wolf shouted, snapping Kira out of her trance. "Now!" The pack sprang into action, adrenaline coursing through their veins. Kira's legs carried her forward as they melted into the undergrowth, slipping into the shadows with practiced ease. They scattered, every creature knowing their role. The rabbits darted ahead, scouting paths and routing the guards. Kira took a deep breath, steadying herself, heart pounding as they plunged into the unknown. As they raced deeper into the woods, the ominous sounds of distant clashes began to fill the air. The knights were upon them, steel glinting in the moonlight, powerful horses charging through the trees, intent on snuffing out their flickering flame. "Stick to the plan," Kira yelled, her voice slicing through the chaos. "Gather under the full moonlight. We'll fight together." The rhythm of hoofbeats thundered in the distance, drawing closer. Kira's heart raced as fear clawed at her insides alongside determination. Would they break? Would Alaric crush their insurrection before it had even begun? Fleeing into the deeper part of the forest, Kira darted between the trees, the Silver Wolf at her side, embodying the spirit of resistance. Every inch they covered sent exhilaration surging through her veins, pushing past the fear. They would not yield. Not now. Suddenly, a guard stumbled into view, eyes wide with shock. Kira locked eyes with him. In that moment, she felt the call to action surge within her. "Now!" Kira shouted as the pack swept into a wave of fury, lunging with primal force. The silver wolf launched at the knight, powerful jaws snapping at leather and bone. Kira could hardly breathe as her body erupted into motion, adrenaline sharpening her instincts. She had never felt so alive. Around her, battles erupted, snarls harmonizing with the clang of metal and the cries of resistance. The air was electric with intensity. Each creature fought with ferocity, reflecting their desire to reclaim their freedom. But amidst the chaos, Kira spotted a flash of familiar silver fur. The younger wolf had become ensnared, cornered by two knights. Her heart dropped as she watched him struggle, adrenaline kicking in. A fierce instinct igniting in her chest. "Hold on!" Kira screamed, determination fueling her. She dove forward, calling on every ounce of strength, defying the chaos surrounding her. With a swift movement, Kira lunged toward the knights, slashing through the air as she charged. The sound of steel met the snapping jaws of the silver wolf, her companions forming a united front. Kira avoided strikes from the guards, relying on instinct as she knocked one off balance. She felt slick sweat roll down her back as she spun, heart racing with purpose. "Now!" she shouted, feeling the bond with her pack settle in the fading shadows of the fray. Together they surged, a brilliant blast of unity and power, every creature pushing as one, letting the strength of their shared bond explode into the night. But just as victory felt within reach, the air inside the clearing shifted. A new presence emerged, dark and unmistakable. Alaric stood there, eyes burning cold like ice. "Fools," he declared, voice booming into the living night. "You think mere beasts can defy the crown? You'll find nothing but destruction here." A chill raced through Kira. Alaric was a beast of a different kind, wielding power that could crush forests and dreams alike. For an instant, her heart lurched, doubt clawed at her. Was this the moment where they all unraveled? But she refused to let fear dictate her actions. Strength surged within her. "You underestimate us, Alaric," she called out, voice rising above the chaos. "We will not be silenced." The flames of rebellion flickered brighter in her heart. This was for every Omega, every creature who had ever suffered under his tyranny. With newfound courage, Kira raised her head higher, eyes locked onto Alaric's cold gaze. "You may have power, but we have fire." The silver wolf growled beside her, a powerful wave of unity flowing through each member of the pack. Kira grasped the truth now. It wasn't merely a fight for survival. This was a battle for identity, for truth. Would they succumb to his darkness? Or would they let their fire blaze brightly, illuminating the path toward freedom? Kira's heart thundered as she braced herself, ready to face whatever came next. Together, they were unstoppable. Tonight, they would rise. The moon hung high, casting its silvery glow over Kira and her pack. All around her, tension crackled in the air as their battle reached its height. "Charge!" Kira roared, propelling her pack into action. They surged forward, a wave of fur and fury engulfing Alaric and his knights. Kira fought fiercely, instinct guiding her movements as she dodged blows and attacked. Every clash of fur against steel fueled her determination. This fight wasn't just about survival, it was about reclaiming their lives, their identity. Each heartbeat echoed the collective power of her pack, igniting her spirit. Alaric's icy laughter sliced through the fray. "You think you can defeat me? You'll find only despair," he sneered, lifting his weapon as he moved with the grace of a predator. Panic threatened to seep in, but Kira shook it off. "We will not bend to your tyranny," she shouted back, heart racing with purpose. With a commanding presence, Kira rallied her companions. "Surround him!" she ordered, feeling the unity between them deepen. They pressed in closer, instinctively moving as one unit, their shared fire burning brightly even in the darkness of the night. As the fight escalated, Alaric's power seemed to wane. Kira seized her moment. "Now!" she shouted, leaping from the grasp of one of his guards to land atop a low tree stump. The height gave her a vantage point. She felt every creature's eyes on her, and a wave of courage flooded through her. "Together," she implored, urging her pack to strike in unison. They howled, a mighty chorus echoing through the woods, harmonizing with the pulse of the earth beneath them. Kira felt an adrenaline rush, powerful and intoxicating. With one final surge, Kira charged toward Alaric. "You may have power, but we have fire," she bellowed as she lunged, teeth snapping through the air. Time seemed to slow as Kira's heart thundered. She felt all their struggles reflecting in that moment, every moment of fear, every ounce of pain. She harnessed those feelings, letting them propel her forward. Alaric staggered, veering off balance as Kira's bite landed. For the first time, realization worked through his icy demeanor. He was vulnerable. Kira felt a fierce joy ripple through her as she rallied her pack for a final push, every creature on fire with purpose. "You fight for more than survival," Kira shouted as they closed in on Alaric. "Fight for your freedom. Fight for our future." The pack surged around her, a whirlwind of claws and teeth. The weight of their unity pressed against Alaric, and he began to falter. The tide had turned. "No!" he screamed, panic flaring in his eyes as the pack pinned him down. With a unified howl, Kira's pack pushed him to the ground, marking the end of his reign of terror. The power of rebellion coursed through them, transforming their fears into strength, their struggles into victory. As silence enveloped the clearing, the dawn began to break. Kira stood among her pack, breaths heavy with exhaustion, but spirit alight with triumph. "We did it," she whispered in disbelief, the truth washing over her. Slowly they turned to one another, feeling the weight of their victory settle. They had fought together and won. The silver wolf stepped forward, pride gleaming in his eyes. "You led us well, Kira. You brought us together when we needed it most." Kira smiled, her heart swelling with gratitude for every creature around her. "This is just the beginning," she responded, knowing struggles lay ahead, but confident they would face them as a united force. The sun crested the horizon, casting a golden glow across the land. Their lives would change. The shadows that lurked for so long had receded. Together, they were unstoppable. As Kira looked toward the future, she felt emboldened. They would thrive in their newfound freedom, bound together by the unbreakable bond they had forged in battle. If you enjoyed Kira's fight for freedom and her tale of unity, subscribe for more epic Lycan stories. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a moment of adventure. And always remember, together, we hold the power to break our chains. Thank you for listening.